and welcome to my show Indus Cuisine, and I'm your chef Basim Akhund. We're back with a new episode from the heart of Pakistan. Today's recipe is very interesting and it's a vegan recipe, and as everyone knows that nowadays throughout the world, throughout the globe, people are shifting towards veganism. But this recipe dates back to a very long time, and one can say that these ingredients were used in the time when the Mohenjo Daro civilization was on its epitome in the province of Sindh. We're making fry Masala Baingan. Now, what does that mean? Fry is basically a word from the English which we have adopted in the province of Sindh, which means to fry. Masala means spicy, Baingan means aubergine. So this recipe is completely authentic towards the vegan concept. Why? Because we are not using any form of, you could say, animal fat, animal meat, or any byproduct that comes from the animal. We're even using, you could say, oil which comes from the sunflower, so sunflower oil. Apart from that, we're just using yogurt, yes, I must say, but if you want to have this recipe without yogurt, you can do that also. Yogurt will be served towards the end, and how it shall be, I'll let you know. What are the ingredients for today? So you need around let's say half a kg or 750 grams of aubergine. You need around 3 tomatoes, 3 onions, in which I shall just use 2 onions. Why? Because we need 2 small onions, but these are towards the medium big size. Then you need some coriander, some mint leaves, and you need some chaat masala. What is chaat masala? Chaat masala is basically mango powder mixed with all the other spices over here you see, but the mango powder is 80% and then the others are just less. So in the store you can go and ask them for chaat masala. You'll find that it has a very tangy taste and it brings a lot of flavor to the recipe. Then you need some khashkhash. Khashkhash is basically poppy seeds which you shall add to the recipe, which adds a nice zing to it. Then you need some red chili, which should be dried, not in the powder form. You need some cumin seeds, some coriander powder, some turmeric powder. You need some salt to taste. I'll be using some rock salt, which is the powdered version of the normal salt. Then you will be using some ginger, some garlic, some yogurt, and some oil for frying. So firstly, what we shall do is we shall start getting ready with the aubergine. So for the aubergines, what you need is you need to keep your pan on the stove. Let's say I'll keep it over here and increase the heat. When it comes to heat, I shall add the oil so that I can fry the aubergine. But how shall the aubergine be cut? That's the question. So we'll take around 4 aubergines for now. And firstly, what I'll do is I'll take a paring knife and I'll just slide it like this and I'll cut it here. Now, why did I do that? Because I just wanted to take the top part out, because if I start cutting from here, I'll be losing this much of the aubergine, which is not right. Okay, so always remember one thing, put your knife in and then go in. So what happens is you shall not waste the amount of aubergine that sticks over here. Just take the stems out. Try taking out as much as you can when it comes to this. Do not waste a lot of aubergine while cutting the stem. So always push in and then go down. This is done. Some part of the aubergine does get a little rough, so just be very careful. We'll take the stems and throw it on the side. The pan has come to heat. I'll just put it on pilot. Why? Because I don't want to overheat it. So take this part out, throw it on the side, and just see if there are a few leaves sticking to the beautiful vegetable we're cooking today. Okay, so now what do you need? You need to cut it in a certain way that you shall fry it then. So for that, what you shall do is you shall cut the aubergine in around 1 inch thick pieces. Now remember, the aubergine also absorbs oil, so you have to add a little extra. And the other thing is, I won't be using the end part. Why? Because there's too much of the peel over here, and that basically stops the aubergine from frying equally. So I'll just cut it like this, slowly and gradually. And if you think that any part of the aubergine is not fine, or it's not ready to eat, or if it's bad, throw it away. But the aubergine right now we're using are completely fine. Now the reason behind this, I am telling you, is because in Pakistan we try reducing the use of pesticides, or we keep it to the minimal. So at times when you cut the aubergine, it's a vegetable that catches a lot of you could say the crop ruining insects. So they basically seep into it, and if you find some, you can just throw it away. It's just like potato or tomato. They also try attracting all these insects which basically live inside the vegetable. Okay, this is done. So what I'll do is I'll increase the heat over here, and I'll also turn this stove on so that I can just show you how to fry it over here. So this is done. So I'll just shift it here, put this on pilot, and now we shall add some oil. You need to add oil for frying, remember that. So I'll just take the cling wrap off and transfer all the oil over here. This goes here. Just add around a cup of oil, that would be more than enough, I think so. And it also depends on the diameter or the base of the pan or the thing you're using. Why? Because if it's too wide, you will require at least 2 cups of oil. If it's like around 10 inches, a cup of oil is more than enough. Okay, so when the oil comes to heat, piping hot, then we shall add it. So what I'll do momentarily is I shall just pick this, push it on the side. Now I want to flavor the oil. So what I'll do first is I shall just take a piece of garlic. I shall just press it like this, and I shall toss it in the oil. I want to fry the garlic for, let's say, around 30 seconds on high heat, and just a little bit of ginger. So what I'll do is I'll just take a small slice like this, and I'll throw this in the oil also. So this goes in. What will happen eventually is that the oil will get flavored nicely. And the other thing I'll do is, in front of you, I'll reduce the heat just for a second, add just a little bit of salt on the ginger and just a little bit of salt on the garlic. Now what will happen is that the garlic and ginger will start letting their juice out. As you can see now, when I added salt, there's some bubbles on the floor. These bubbles are the moisture that is being lost by the garlic, and on the other hand, because ginger is a little thinner, so it's kind of floating over here. So now tilt it and now let it deep fry so that the oil is nicely infused. Remember that you need to infuse the oil always. And now we should start frying. But before that, you want the garlic to get a little brown. So what I'll do is I'll increase the heat to full, and I shall fry it for, let's say, 15 seconds. This is very important. Remember that. Why? Because you want the flavor of the recipe to be nice and even. Okay, this is done. So what I'll do now is I shall let the garlic be there. I will start placing all the pieces in a circular motion. As I told you, we're not deep frying it, we are shallow frying it. And if you have a smaller pan, you can do this in batches also. I'll just try adding as many as I can without crowding it too much. Okay, for now, I think this much is enough. What I'll do is I'll keep this on the side and we can fry it later. Okay, on the other hand, you have to do the same thing again with the aubergines also. Take a pinch of salt and just spread it out on the aubergine so that the aubergine also starts losing its water and it starts frying evenly. So I'm just seasoning it a little as we go. Okay, this is done. The heat needs to be on medium, so I'll just shift it over here now and fry it. So do not give it a lid. If you give it a lid, what will happen is that the moisture will be inside and they won't fry properly. Let it fry. Each side of the aubergine will take around 3 to 4 minutes to cook. Get the pan, keep it over here and increase the heat. You need some oil first, so I've just picked some oil up. I'll bring it over here. And now what you need is you need some garlic. For this recipe, I'll be using around 3 cloves of garlic. That is it, not more than that. Reduce the heat over here, do not overheat it too much, and finely slice this. So go really close. You have to keep it really thin. Why? Because I do not want to ruin the flavor. If it's thin, what will happen is you'll get a perfect bite and the garlic won't overpower all the other things. On the other hand, you just need to take a look that the aubergine is cooking properly. Just press it. If it's still a little tough, it means it's raw. Okay, add around 5 tablespoons of oil. That's it, not more. And increase the heat to medium, let's say. Okay, I'll add the garlic, and I'll let it cook for around a minute till it gets light brown. So till then this is cooking, we'll go for a short break, and once we're back from the break, what I'll do is I'll let you know what to do next. Welcome back. You're watching Indus Cuisine and I'm your chef Basim Akhund. I just put the garlic in, and now what we'll do is we'll change the side of the aubergine. As you can see, they are nicely cooking. They're brown, they're not burnt, don't worry. This is how you cook this recipe, and now you will cook it on the other side. It's been around 5 minutes, and now I want the aubergine to lose its moisture. So slowly and gradually reduce the heat to really low, and you have to do one thing which I'll tell you. It's delicious, it looks amazing, and trust me, you're going to love this treat. Okay, so we are done with the aubergine. Now pick up a paring knife and pick the spatula up again. Place it over here, reduce the heat to the pilot, and just make these small cuts. Around 5 cuts on each aubergine. This will allow the heat to pass evenly inside. This is done. Now keep the heat really low and let it cook for another 5 to 6 minutes. So I've kept the heat on, let's say, less than medium for it to cook. And on the other hand, over here, the garlic was on pilot also, and I'll just increase the heat, but not now. Okay, now the next step is you need some onions. We'll take around 2 onions and we shall finely chop them. So I'll just keep the root on. I'll cut it like this, like a flower. And now we should slowly and gradually make these cuts on the edges. Make this cut and finely chop the onion. Pick the root, throw it on the side, you do not need it anymore, remember that. And slowly and gradually just keep going in. Take the root, throw it on the side again, and now the last piece. This is done. Okay, the onion goes in the pan, increase the heat to full, scrape it on the side, and just pull it like this. This is done. Toss it in the pan. And this is done. Add around, let's say, 2 pinches of salt and mix it up. Pick the spatula, flatten it out, and give it a lid for, let's say, 2 minutes so that it gets a little towards the light brown side. So reduce the heat again and just keep an eye over here. As I told you, I just made cuts, so you can see that the oil is coming on top, and this is what I wanted. I'll just check how soft they are now, and as you can see, they're getting nice and delicious. Just check it. You just want to see what the temperature is. Do not overcook it. And just turn it around and take a look. It's nice and light brown. I'm just making these cuts over here also, slowly and gradually. And this will be almost ready in, let's say, another 2 minutes. Okay, I'll reduce the heat to the pilot and I'll give it a lid so that the end part is basically cooking slowly. Okay, this is done. Now what you need is you need around 3 tomatoes. And I need to sharpen my knife at least once. Keep it over here. Just pinch the top part out. And now take the eye of the tomato out very closely, like this. These are cherry tomatoes, so you can just pull out the smaller part from the top, not otherwise. Okay, and when I say cherry tomatoes, I mean the bigger version of the cherry tomatoes. Remember that. These are softer, juicier and quicker to cut, and also they dissolve much more quicker in the sauce. So I'm just making these cuts on them. Take the lid off, shake it up and transfer all the tomatoes in. This is done. Add another pinch of salt and switch the stove off over here. This is cooked. Okay, increase the heat to full, and now let's start cooking the remaining part of this recipe. Okay, mix it up. Pick a spatula up, spread it evenly. Give it a lid for a minute. On high heat, let it cook now. So till I'm cooking, what I'll do, I'll just clear out my space and then I'll let you know what to do next. So as you can see, everything is done, but now what you need to do is you need to pick out all of these and place them in a plate. So what I'll do is I'll take a red plate, I'll place them over here. Why? Because I don't want them to overcook. These are cooked nicely. They have a nice brown char. This is what I wanted. Do not add the ginger or the garlic in this, just remember that, please. This is done. I'll just put this on the side, put the lid back on, and I'll place this in front of you. It's nice, soft and crispy on the outer side. Okay, the tomatoes are also on high heat. They're also almost cooked. So what we'll do now is we'll just start pressing them down like this. This is done. Keep this on the side and start mixing it up. As you can see, the tomatoes are nice and soft. I'll reduce the heat to medium. And now we'll start adding some things. Okay, firstly what you need is you need the poppy seeds to go in. I'll add them towards the side so that they get some oil. Push them in. Why? Because the poppy seeds need to be cooked evenly. I've covered them with the tomato so that they get proper heat. This is done. Now you need some cumin seeds. Add them here. Add them a little over here. Then you need some coriander powder. Whatever you've used, keep it on the side. Keep your station very, very clean. Then what I'll do is I'll require some red chili. So for that, I shall just place it over here like this and press it. This is done. Scoop it up. Add it in the pan. Now we go in with the turmeric powder. That is it, more than enough. Keep it on the side and now mix it up. Just pick up a spatula and start mixing it. This is ready. Now the last thing that goes in is, I'll let you know, but let me just pick this and keep it on the side because it's a little visually unpleasant. Okay, this is done. We need some coriander, so I'll pick it up from the root. As you can see, the roots are still on. Not too much. What I'll do is I'll just pick up this part and I'll cut the root off. This goes in the dustbin. Now turn it around, flip it, and start finely chopping it. This is done. Pick it, throw it on the side, and now scoop it up and put it in. This is done. Mix it nicely. And now we shall start assembling this recipe, which I shall show you in front of the camera. The last step is dishing it out. I have to show you how it's done. So you'll add the yogurt in a bowl. I'm just going to dish out for a single person, and you can do this at home yourself in a bulk quantity, or if you can do it for a single person, you can do that also. Add around just, let's say, 3 tablespoons of water. This was just 3 tablespoons of water, and 1 tablespoon of water always measures to 10 ml, remember that. So that's 30 ml of water. Just water down the yogurt a bit. It needs to be really smooth. Keep this over here. Now we'll pick up a ladle, and we shall just add it over here. But wait, just for that, what I'll do is I'll just pick this up. I don't need this anymore. I'll keep it on the side and pour the yogurt here. The yogurt goes at the base. We keep it at the back. Now we don't need it anymore. Then what we do is we just pick up a spoon and place this around. We pick up some aubergines. You can see they're nice and soft, they're falling apart. Place them here. We take a little bit of chaat masala and we sprinkle it around. On the yogurt, and you take a pinch and place it on the aubergine now. Pick up the spoon again. Place this over here. Now take a stick of the mint leaf. Sorry for this. Pick this up. Place it on the top. And today's recipe is ready. It is a snack, you could say, or you could have it directly like this or with some naan bread. I hope you liked today's episode. I'll see you in another episode of Indus Cuisine. Take care of yourself, lovely people. Bye-bye.